everybody, and thank you for assisting to our 4 blueprints to evaluate security in your AWS workload webinar. Right now, you may be thinking, a racing car? We were supposed to listen about AWS cloud security, not racing cars. Well, yes, we will, but racing cars are a great example to learn about cloud and more specific about cloud security. Let me show you how. You know it's not the same to drive a rally car than a NASCAR car. Even more different is to drive an F1 car or an Indy one. And not only how to drive these cars are completely different, but security measures are completely different too. From completely closed cars to open ones, from having white shields to not having one, even being able to refueling during the race is not the same in every category. Yes, all pilots has helmets and flame retardant suits, but even those are different from one category to the other. But there's one thing they have all in common. No team can only focus on just winning the race, but they must take care of ensuring security, managing resources, managing performance, and of course, adjusting to a specific budget. Doesn't it sound familiar? Same thing happens regarding cloud infrastructure. Each industry has its specific needs, and being able to win every race is the role of all of us. That is why we will not only speak about security today, but focusing in maximizing cloud security. We will talk about resiliency, performance monitoring, and cost optimization as well. So, that being said, it doesn't matter if you are migrating to the cloud or you have selected it as your native environment. Choosing the right architecture, services, configurations, etc. of your own needs is always a challenge. If we add security, resiliency, governance, monitoring, standardization, and so on, it can become a nightmare. But there is always a framework we can implement to ensure we get a baseline infrastructure that will give us what we need from the cloud at the right price. In this session, our expert, Fernando, will talk us about some of these frameworks and how to implement them in a fast and simple way. Hello, my name is Gaston, and I'm the CRO at StackZone. It's a pleasure to present Fernando Honing, AWS hero, and StackZone CEO, who will explain us how StackZone frameworks or blueprints, as we call them, can help us.
Thank you, Gaston, and welcome everyone to our webinar. So you have just mentioned we call them blueprints rather than frameworks. And this is because a framework is much more static than a blueprint. The last one can change and evolve based on every user needs. And that's exactly what StackZone's blueprints are. They are a basic set of tools based on each industry vertical best practices that can be personalized and evolve based on every customer specific need. But first, let's understand what framework and blueprint are and why we should adopt it. So a cloud framework is a collection of documentation, implementation guidance, best practices, and tools that are proven guidance designed to improve your cloud workload. A StackZone blueprint is a set of tools, configurations, and services based on specific industry's cloud framework and users' feedback designed to meet the specific needs of each industry vertical in respect to security, compliance, cost optimization, resiliency, and cloud governance simplicity. Simplifying it, StackZone blueprints are an automated way of implementing industry's best practices optimized with customers' feedback, rather than implementing one by one a selected cloud framework through a manual implementation project. On this session, we will explain the following industry verticals blueprints. Well architected for general purpose workloads, willing to be as compliant as possible with the AWS best practices. SaaS, or software as a service, for companies willing to ensure performance, security, and availability. Financial services, focus on compliance, security, and resilience. And the last one, machine learning, focus on data protection. By the end of this webinar, we will provide you a link with specific information of every blueprint for you to be able to deep understand them and plan your implementation to take your cloud workload to the next level.
So let's get started with the first blueprint. This is the well-architected blueprint. Which is its main objective? Its main objective is to be able to align your workload and the way you manage it to AWS best practices as much as possible. So in this blueprint and through automation, we will implement different services, tools, and automations that will help you to improve your security, cost optimization, and resiliency mainly. But at the same time, we will be working on performance efficiency, operational excellence, and sustainability in order to cover the 6 pillars of the AWS well-architected framework.
And that's great, Gaston, and great to mention all the 6 pillars, because the most important thing here on this well-architected blueprint is how we integrate different AWS services in a way that is simple for customers to adopt security, best practices, reduce cost and optimize them, and also make sure that the resilience of their cloud workloads are up to date. So in terms of security, one of the main things and integrations that we do here is we basically centralize the access administration. We continually monitor the access by using tools like IAM Access Analyzer. We continuously monitor the configuration of different services by implementing AWS config and more than 140 AWS config rules. We also have more than 25 configuration self-healing automation, which means that if one resource deviates from what you consider a best practice, it automatically recovers from that. In terms of resiliency, we all know how difficult it is to set up backup or disaster recovery. So what we do here is we enable a simple backup tag solution based on AWS backup, which means that for every service that is supported by AWS backup, we enable that. And every resource that has a specific tag that you define as a customer, basically those resources are backed up on a specific time frame, and obviously will be deleted in order to not get you out of money with the number of backups and snapshots generated, of course. In terms of cost optimization, as I mentioned just now, the most important thing here is to make sure that when you enable all these services, you're not getting out of pocket, basically. So we work very, very hard in optimizing all the things that we enable to not basically means that you're going to spend a lot in making sure that you are well architected. So one of the things that we have here on the cost optimization is that we continually monitor EC2 and EBS with cost optimization suggestions using Cost Optimizer. We also have a alarm for you to receive alarms when your budget is out of a certain number or when it's reaching a certain threshold. In terms of instances, for example, or EC2 instances, we have a service control policy in order to block the creation of big EC2 instances. So basically instances that are like X large or double X large, etc. Also, we have a snapshot cost optimization. So in order to make sure that your snapshots are using the deep archive tier, The only thing you have to do is just tag the snapshots, and that's it. Automatically, we will run an automation and make sure that your snapshots are in the deep archive tier. And I think it's a quite a cool blueprint, because in order to enable everything that I said and much more, it takes in the region of 5 to 5.5 hours. So I don't think any human can do that, not even me, not even any AWS expert.
Yeah, at least not that fast. You won't be able to type at that speed.
I guess I'm not going to be able even to do that. Yes.
If not, you will break your
The
keyboard, I'm
keyboard.
sure.
Yeah.
So let's move forward to the next blueprint. And in this case, we will be talking about the software as a service blueprint, or as we all mention it, the SaaS industry blueprint. In this case, we will be focusing, again, based on the best practices. We are always working based on cloud best practices, but we will be focusing on those things that cloud native companies offering services to the market needs. And in order to do so, we will be using the AWS Startup Security Baseline and build compliance according to the AWS prescriptive guidance. In this specific blueprint, we will be focusing in security, performance and availability, and cost optimization. Again, we will be focusing on these aspects, but we will work on every single aspect of managing your cloud. And you will see that we always work on cost optimization, for example, on every single blueprint, just because we work as a racing team. We don't care about just winning a race. We need to win the championship. We need to be ready for something that may go not that good as we expected, and we need to be ready and ensure that our pilot will be safe if something happens. So in order to do so, we will ensure that for any type of racing championship we are participating in, we will use the right car, the right configuration, the right equipment, and the right security tools. So which are the right tools for this championship, Fernando?
Yeah, so it's very interesting, because this was the last blueprint that we built in StackZone, and it's interesting because we are a SaaS company. So essentially, we adopted first this blueprint, and the most important thing here is that we based purely on these AWS security startup baseline. And I'm proud to say that we're able to resolve around 80 to 85% of all the recommendations from AWS. It's interesting to see how we can, for example, monitor the usage of resources, and also we can, for example, convert EBS volumes from GP2 to GP3 automatically with some automation that we put in place. So this basically reduces around 20% on the on your bill for EBS volumes, but also brings more performance to your access to your volumes. It's also interesting how we deal with the auto alarms. So we have an integration that we've done that with a simple tag you can use it in your EC2 instances and also in your Lambda functions, and it will create the CloudWatch alarms automatically for you. So the only thing you have to do is just tag your instances. Automatically will install the agent in your instances, the CloudWatch the CloudWatch agent, and it will create those alarms in AWS in every account and in every region that you have instances. So, and you don't have to worry about, oh, I created an instance, do I need to create the alarms? So the alarms will be created automatically for you. And obviously, when you delete the instance, obviously the alarm would be removed. So it works very automated in that way. So it gives you peace of mind that every resource will be monitored automatically.
And that's awesome. And as you mentioned, this is a blueprint we have implemented. And as you can see, we are really, really focused not only in performance, but in cost optimization. We can say that the security and performance and availability column is Fernando's one. And mine, that I'm concerned about the money, is the cost optimization one. And you can see how both columns are working together, because when your team were able to automatically change GP2 EVS to GP3, I was really happy because I reduced my bill like 20% in storage. And you were so happy because you improved the performance of GP3 and the all the indicators. So we were both really happy. And again, you can focus on every single aspect, not only one, and ensure that the whole business will keep evolving with all the best practices, rather than just reducing your bill or just security or just improving performance. So we can move forward to the financial services blueprint. And this is one, I think I should say, this is the one where we put the most focus in security, because data and the way we protect that information is really important for SaaS, for machine learning, for almost every industry. And it is one of the major capitals we have as a business. But definitely with financial services, we have the government, we have the standards, we have everyone watching to us and checking how we are doing it, and to ensure that we have our customers' money and information protected. So, of course, the main objective of this blueprint is to protect the infrastructure, the information, and by the end of the day, customers' money as much as possible. And to do it as it is suggested by the experts. So we are talking about standards compliance here, and of course, cloud best practices, but at the same time, to do it cost efficiently. So that's why we are working on security, compliance, and cost optimization.
Yeah, so we all have a bank account. We all have a debit or credit card. So we want it to be secure. We want our money to be secure. And the companies and organizations who are in this industry, in financial services industries, they basically need to adopt some sort of compliance. So typically that's how it works. And what we did with the financial services blueprint is to focus purely on PCI DSS and SOC. So basically all the rules and remediations that we put in place, and all the services integrations that we put in place for this particular blueprint is aligned basically to these two type of compliant methods. So in terms of security, we make sure that everyone logged into the AWS accounts are basically protected with multi-factor authentication. And if, for example, you are using some sort of access key, and the access key is not rotated within a certain time period, we're basically notifying on that. And for example, if you are brave enough and you want to implement the remediation for that, it will automatically rotate that access key. So we need to be very careful with that if your application is not taking those new access keys into the secrets, because otherwise the application will stop working. But also it's very important for us, all the CloudWatch alarms that we create for this particular blueprint. So in every account and every region that you have enabled or you have workloads, so we create CloudWatch alarms for for example, root access. So anytime the root user access the AWS account, we don't want that. So we basically send a notification of that. For example, if someone is modifying an IAM policy in a user or a role, so we basically send a notification of that as well. We make sure that your password policy is compliant, which means that it has a particular length in characters that is rotated every certain amount of time. So when someone logins to your AWS account, and if the password is not being updated in the last, I don't know, maybe 90 days or 60 days, so you define that, automatically will ask for a reset password. Then we have also monitoring again on services, and we have monitoring on all the resources that you have. So the majority of this is related with encryption, is related to data protection, is related to versioning, for example, in your S3 buckets. So that's sort of a protection in terms of data from a security point of view. In terms of compliance, so as I mentioned before, so we focus very much on the specific guardrails for PCI DSS and SOC. So we also are able to, for example, block a particular region that you're not using. So for example, if for some compliance regulations, you cannot use a specific region, you can block that region and no one can create any resources in those particular regions. So that's very, very important from a compliance perspective. And also, again, from a cost optimization, we make sure that the budgets are set, that for any new account that you create, a budget is set. And if, for example, your budget is coming to 90%, 100%, 120% of the projected cost for this month, then it will notify you and you will be able to action. We also have an automation, which is not part of any blueprint, but you can enable it after the fact, which basically by tagging your AWS account, we can run an automation to basically block the creation of any resources or new resources in that account. So we basically will cap the projected cost up to the budget level, basically.
Yeah, and something important to be mentioned here is that this is not only a blueprint that is necessary to be implemented for fintech or financial companies. If you are willing to be a financial company provider, or if you needs to accomplish a contracts specific security guidelines, this will be the blueprint that you will be choosing for your cloud workload. We have a great case study that we have shared in our LinkedIn account that talks exactly about that, how the implementing StackZone and a specific security blueprint help one of our customers to win a really important contract with one of the most important banks of their country. And this is something really important, just to think which are the needs you have and which is the industry you will be delivering your product, but at the same time, which are the needs of your customers in order to ensure you're ready. And the good thing about StackZone is that, as Fernando mentioned, you can activate or deactivate everything whenever you need that. So if you need to just start with the basic configuration, or you choose the well-architected framework blueprint, and then you need to add or remove some of the tools because you are moving to a financial services environment, you can completely change your configuration by just doing a couple of clicks and implementing the change. And automation will do it for you in just a few moments. So that's the great thing about StackZone. But let's move forward to the last blueprint we will be talking about today. And this is the machine learning blueprint. learning about data, making analysis based on it, and especially helping people to take decisions based on data is the business of the future. And many companies in the cloud are doing this, and many companies are migrating from a specific business, such as a SaaS company, to a machine learning company or adding that service. And this is why we started working with this blueprint and this set of configuration, focusing mainly, of course, in data security and how that information is being accessed not only by people but by the machines. And of course, taking care of cost, as we have just mentioned. So even though, again, we will be working on every single aspect in order to ensure that you are resilient, your performance is the one you need in order to run your workload, and at the same time, be cost efficient and to be secure. In this specific blueprint, we will be focusing in security and cost optimization.
Yeah, so one of the many things that we reiterated on this particular blueprint is data. So it's very important that you keep your data safe because it's what everyone wants the data that you have collected, analyzed, and it's basically kind of a gold for your business, but also is very important for your own customers. So what we did here is we focus on and all our rules and remediations are around, for example, S3 buckets, encryption, doing the versioning, making sure that you can replicate that bucket to another region with just a tag. Or, for example, making sure that your EBS volumes are encrypted, again, in every account and every region. Making sure that your EFS volume is encrypted in every account and every region, making sure that your, for example, RDS instance is not publicly available and that you're using VPC endpoints for your DynamoDB tables or for your S3 buckets. And that is basically linked again to cost optimization. So the idea here is that you do not spend as much as possible in terms of outgoing data, because that is basically how it works. The networking outgoing charges is what you basically take out of the cloud. And if you are consuming data from S3 on a public link, that means that it's traversing the internet and getting back to your instance, for example, if you're basically doing all these calculations using an EC2 instance. The other thing is that we enable a service catalog product, and for you basically create a data studio product, and you can provision that with just a click. So that is typically very difficult to do, and it takes a lot of time. And so we basically did it with a simple click, and you can provision that product. And we also have, as part of the service catalog, I just mentioned service catalog, a VPC. So you can create a VPC just a single click. And again, the important thing here is that is using the tags that you set up in StackZone for all your resources. So for your resources, you create tags in StackZone, and for every resource that is created, is replicating those tags in the particular VPC product. In Service Catalog. So it's very important for us here to making sure that you have encrypted your CloudWatch logs, that your CloudWatch logs have a specific retention time, so basically you don't keep adding and adding data to a CloudWatch log group, and then, your cost for storing CloudWatch logs goes to the roof. So we're making sure that for every CloudWatch log group, we have a specific retention period. Initially, it's set up to 2 weeks, but you can modify that up to 7 years. And the same thing for log archive. So we have a specific AWS account to log archive and logs that are in your AWS config, and also in all your CloudWatch log groups. So we can basically move all your CloudTrail logs straight into the log archive account, and it's very good from an auditor perspective, basically to have a single place to look after the how you manage the compliance of the understanding what's going on in your account.
And that's great. And what we will be doing here again is to simplify the word. You will do simple things but repetitive things in the AWS console and on the AWS organization, and allow your team to focus, to do it fast through automation, and to focus directly on what they need to be focused on. That is improving your application, improving your algorithm, checking new ways of improving how to analyze all the information you have, and to do it knowing that everything is secure, that no one will access to it without the right permission, and that they will do it fast and in a simple way. So that's it. That's what our blueprints do. These are the 4 blueprints we wanted to share with you today. And we will continue delivering new blueprints and new sets of configurations. And the reason behind that is our compromise to keep evolving StackZone based on our customers' needs. So if you have any issue you're going through right now, if you have any need or any problem, just contact Fernando through LinkedIn, contact me through LinkedIn, and we will be more than happy to just let you know how we can help or how you can solve it. What is more, if you are part of a different industry vertical and you feel that something new needs to be done or a specific blueprint, just let us know, and we'll be more than happy to create a blueprint for your specific industry vertical. Contact us on our personal LinkedIn, or just contact us through the StackZone LinkedIn if you need more information. On the comments, you will find links in order to get detailed information about these specific blueprints and to check what is deployed, and perhaps why not try to do it manually if you don't want to do it just in 2 hours by the implementing StackZone. So, Fernando, would you like to share what is the special deal we have during August?
Oh yeah, this is very exciting. So, so basically, what we want to do is we want to give 50% off for the first 12 months for the first 5 customers who get in touch with us and implement one of the blueprints that we just presented to you. And I will say, just hurry up. I mean, this is going to be available until the end of August, or until we get the first 5 customers. And yeah, so I'm really happy to put this special deal, because it will help customers. It will help customers of our customers, and it's really good for us.
So, getting to the first comment, check about what we deploy on those blueprints. Get in touch with us. Just let us know how we can help, and take advantage of this special deal. 5 licenses at 50% for the first 12 months. That's completely crazy. So thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I hope to see you really soon on our next webinar.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.